Hello, this is William McKissock with Schooley Mitchell. And as you know, at Schooley Mitchell and me personally, we like to promote other businesses for free on social media. We like to help. And today I have with me Tonya Fines, who is with Tonya Fines Inc., a content creating company. So you write things for people, etc. So Tonya, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
It's an absolute pleasure. So tell me a little bit about yourself. I mean, I know that we both have a Canadian connection.
Yes.
My company being a Canadian company, you being Canadian. So tell me a little bit about yourself and kind of what brought you to here now.
Sure. Well, I am Canadian. I'm from Vancouver, British Columbia, West Coast. Born and raised, grew up in Canada, but in 2012, actually, my family and we moved to New Zealand, and we lived there for 5 years. And then from New Zealand, ended up in beautiful Tampa Bay, Florida. So love to travel, a little bit of a gypsy, but Florida is definitely home now.
Yeah, like you, that coming from Scotland, I don't miss the weather. I'm sure you'll feel the same.
I mean, Vancouver's beautiful. It really is beautiful. I had the best of many worlds. I had the mountains, I had the beaches, I had fall, which I sometimes miss fall, but I do not miss cold, long winters. So no, done with that.
Like we miss us people coming from way up north, we miss the seasons.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing I find. I miss the hills and the mountains as well, like you do. So, Tonya, tell me a little bit about your company. You're a content creating company. So what does that entail? Just kind of give me a little bit about what you actually do.
Okay, well, it's fabulous, but I'm very creative at heart. So I'm a storyteller. I've always loved writing, been involved in writing in some form or other. When I had my own company many years ago, so back before content creation or UGC was even a thing, I was creating all my own content. So that was like digital brochures, the content for my website, my landing pages, anywhere that I was having to use words or video to promote myself, to market myself, to sell my products and services. I was doing all of that before it was like a thing. And then getting back into Florida, moving to Florida, and then really having to start over again, I thought, well, this is a skill. I mean, I had some other work I was doing, but I really kept being pulled into that area of creating content. So that involved written, so copywriting, email marketing, website content, landing page content, VSLs, video, podcasting, anything that required me to use social media platforms or digital platforms to create really engaging content with great calls to action to sell and market other companies and other people's products and services. That's what I do.
So, yeah, I mean, it's the whole gambit. So if I needed something put out there on social media, if you're going to put it in a magazine or whatever, you're the person to come to.
I'm the girl. If you have something that you want to sell or promote or market, but you need the words, like really great words, I'm your girl, because facts are great. Facts tell. Facts can definitely attribute to sort of where you fit in your industry, like it's statistically speaking, numbers, profit and loss, and all of that are great. But stories are what sell, because people ultimately want to be entertained. They want to feel like they're important. They want to feel like they are the only one that you're speaking to. And if you can entertain them and make them feel special and make them feel heard, they're going to be a lot more willing to give you their money.
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. So speaking about giving your money, what does the typical client look like for you?
Interesting. My typical client is incredibly diverse. Now, right now, I would say the bulk of the people I work with are probably in that 35 to 50. Some of them, I wouldn't say as many of them are little startups, but they have sort of been in business, had got their business started, and now they actually have an inventory of something, some products, some services, and they're at a point where now their time and energy is best spent in other aspects and areas of the business. And so coming up with the marketing, the advertising, the boom the wow factor, they either don't have time for, or they just seem to kind of be missing the mark, and they really want to showcase what they're offering. And so that's where they contact me. And, you know, we usually sit down and have anywhere from a 30-minute to 45-minute sort of initial consult to see if it's a fit. Because sometimes it's not a fit. Yeah. But that's sort of the age range. As far as industries, I do a lot of content work for a lot of health, fitness, and wellness companies because I do have a very extensive background in that. I've worked in that industry for years and years. But I've also done content work for, you know, the medical industry, real estate, engineering, business, accounting, like you name it, just anybody and anything that needs words to sell what they do. And the great thing about being a storyteller is that anything has the potential to be a really great story with a really impactful call to action. You don't necessarily have to know the industry inside out. It certainly helps. But when I sit down with a client and it's an industry that I don't have a lot of experience in that conversation, they're actually already telling me a story. I'm already hearing and feeling and seeing what their passion is, what they like, what they really want from this. And that gives me an edge in terms of how to create really great content for them.
Quick question. We talked about everything that you do and who you do it for. When you say creating content, do you actually post it on social media for them at the same time as well as creating it?
I do. And that, again, that's in that after that initial consult, then it's kind of back to the table to sort of come up with a plan. What is the marketing plan? Is it just email campaigns? Do they just need some content for their website? And some of these aren't like also brand new companies. A lot of times, or many times, I've had somebody reach out to me that's been in an industry for many years, has had a website for 10 years, and it needs it, like I call it, like the facelift. It just needs a little bit of a makeover. It needs to be freshened up. It needs to be made a little more current. So sometimes it's just tweaking and editing. So it depends on how much or what they want. So that can be one company. I was doing all of their email campaigns as well as their Instagram posts once a week. So it's really runs the gamut, because when you look at, like, in today's day and age, when you look at content, it's really everything. It's social media, it's email marketing, it's website landing pages, it's VSLs, it's all of it. Anything that involves content to talk about and sell is content.
So before we move on, one quick question. If I was to send you over, say, like a list, to say, could you do an email campaign to that list? Because I know people watching this might be thinking that, like, if I send Tonya a list, I've just downloaded it from my Leads database, would you do an email campaign for me for that?
Absolutely. The only things that I require are that you have some sort of email platform that you're working with, whether it's ActiveCampaign, MailChimp, Kartra. I mean, there's many of them out there. I've worked with a lot of them. So as long as you have a system in place, because I don't set up, I don't take people's, like, I don't, that's out of my wheelhouse. There's other people. I can do it. It just takes me longer than somebody can do it in their sleep. So the only criteria is that you have some sort of email platform that you're working with. Your email leads are in there, and then I can go in and, do the emails and do the campaigns for you.
Cool. I know that's a question that anybody watching this might be thinking, that when you mentioned email campaigns, because I know that's huge for companies like mine and people who, like any business that's trying to promote themselves. So, quick question, where do you do it? Do you do it in Florida, United States? Do you do it in Canada as well? Where do you actually operate as a business?
I take clients from anywhere. I have clients in the US, I have clients in Canada, I have clients overseas in India, Australia, anywhere, because I work from home. As long as I have a Wi-Fi connection, I can work with anybody.
Fantastic. I never knew that. I suspected you would tell me you work in the USA and Canada. I didn't actually realize that you actually work worldwide. So anybody watching this show, wherever you are in the world, you can see Tonya's details underneath her portion of the video, her email address, her phone number, etc., and you can reach out to her. Tonya, thank you very much for coming on to the show. It's a very short interview. We keep it short because we want people to get the message without having to sit and have a cup of tea and have their dinner while they're watching TV, kind of thing. So again, Tonya, thank you very much for coming on the show. It's an absolute pleasure to have you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And I'll now hand it over to Dave for the weather.